I look at movies in my spare time. I look at DVDs and Laserdiscs at home because I love movies. I have no idea how many movies I've seen, thousands of movies.
I live for discovery. I live for finding somebody, putting it all together in a new way.
If I can see 3 movies this weekend, why should I just see one? I am a junkie. If movies could kill you, I would have been dead years ago.
Hello, I am very sorry, everybody, for the show you're about to hear. Gee, Phillip, why is that? Well, it's because of this. I got home, all this stuff, you know, I fold the clothes, I put some in the dryer, and eat some food, hang out with the wife, watch a little TV. Then I said, hey, I'm going to go do a podcast. And I come in here, and I get ready to do the podcast, turn on everything, get everything ready, go to do the podcast. And I record it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, wow, my little, voice waves are a little low. I wonder why they're low. Oh, well, I'm going to be normalizing it anyway. When I'm done, it's going to boost up. It'll be fine. Excuse me. So I go ahead and I record the whole show, and for about 48 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever. And then I go to, play the trailer for James Bond at the end, and then I realize, wow, why is this not sounding right? Oh, because when I look, it was going off the audio from my computer, and the input and output were both from my laptop. So my laptop is sitting in front of me. It's still picked up, but it was just like it's picking up the room. It's just me talking. So I'm not on the mic like this, nice and sweet, and everybody's going, oh, that's lovely. I hate your monotone voice in my ears. Anyway, but I recorded that whole thing. I was like, look, I got to go to bed. I can't re-record the show, for one, because it wouldn't be as good, because I'm just flying off the cuff on this stuff. I had some real good stuff that I talked about. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it. Hopefully people can listen. I don't think it's too bad. I think it's fine. But I did want to apologize, because when you start listening to it, you'll go, what the fuck? Why does this sound weird? So now you know, and I don't have to write everybody text and put on Instagram, hey, sorry, even though I still will. But anyway, anyway, everybody, please enjoy. It was a great day today. I had a hell of a time. I hope you enjoy the watch list. Like I say on the show, send me any emails, instant messages, whatever you need. Go to my Facebook page, all that stuff, because sometimes I share stuff on there that is not on Instagram, like videos and stuff. So anyway, thank you, everyone, and I'm sorry again. So, but it happens. So there you go. Everybody have a good day. Hello and welcome to My Cellular Heart Presents The Watch List. What's Phillip watching? Wah, wah, wah. That's those bullhorns at the basketball games. Anyway, this is a show where I talk about what I've been watching. Last week it was GoldenEye. Next week is going to be Tomorrow Never Dies. Working through the Pierce Brosnan, getting up to Daniel Craig. I'm excited. I'm very excited for the Daniel Craig stuff, because I haven't seen that as much as I've seen all the others leading up. Because every time, like I said, when a new Bond film comes out, I go back and I watch them all from number one all the way through, and then I go see the new ones. So I haven't seen the others as much as I've seen the others. You know what that means. Anyway, so this is just what I've been watching. So I may call it What I've Been Watching, but that's a long title. But anyway, it's a separate show from my regular show where I put 2 movies together. And right now we're doing Bond, so I'm not matching up 2 movies. I'm doing Bond up until December 3rd or whatever. And then we'll have a new show. So, then I'll do the 2 movies again. Very fun stuff. I'm changing it up as I go. Sometimes I find interesting little things, whatever. Anyway, but I want to make a correction from the last watch list. I talked about, I saw the movie Future World, and I couldn't think of the girl that was in it with Peter Fonda, and the girl was Blythe Danner. It's Blythe Danner, in case I ran through that too quick. It's Gwyneth Paltrow's mama. So she was pretty good in it. And the guy that I couldn't think of that was Rockford's buddy, that was always, bothering Rockford, his name's Stuart Margolin, and he's still acting today. He's been in some things. So it's pretty cool to see him still around. I really like that. And then, so on the James Bond episode, I'm going to go ahead and share that here because hopefully everybody just listens to my shows. On the GoldenEye episode that my cousin and I did, I said, oh, the best song. I said, I don't want to give it away till the end of the show, till the end of the whole run when I do my brackets for the best James Bond movie ever, the best theme song ever, the best gadget, the best villain, the best pre-credit sequence, all that stuff. And one of them is the best song. So I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, Live and Let Die is going to be #1 song. #2 is going to be GoldenEye by Tina Turner. And my friend Brandt went nuts and wrote me a text. And I told him to send a voicemail, but he's like, no, go ahead and read the text. That's good. So it's funny stuff. I said, dude, nobody does it better. Theme from The Spy Who Loved Me is way better than GoldenEye or any of the other songs you mentioned. And you didn't even bring it up. Boo. I think it's better than Live and Let Die, but just by a hair. You like that shitty Madonna song too? Because I said, I really like Die Another Day. I hate that whole movie, but I really like that, the Madonna song. I like it. But yeah, so I got to rethink, so I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about Nobody Does It Better, For Your Eyes Only, View to a Kill, like Chip said, that's a good one. And then Casino Royale, You Know My Name, that's a good song. Anyway, and then of course Skyfall by Adele, No Time to Die by Billie Eilish. So, you got some good ones there. So, hard to say. But anyway, Brandt, I hear you. I'm sorry. I was just running off the top of my head, and I totally forgot about how great the Carly Simon song is. And that's why I got kind of hit by YouTube. It was like, hey, you have a copyright infringement. This may affect your monetization. And it's like, but Brandt and I made the choice. When I'm talking on the show, I think you even hear me go, I'm going to play it all the way from the beginning because that song starts out so beautifully. And you can't just start it in the middle like I usually do with the Bond films. But anyway, we're not on a Bond episode today. We're on the watch list. So what have I been watching, you ask? Oh, good. I'm glad you showed up to ask me. And I'm hoping you find this interesting. If you do not find this interesting, please let me know. I'll do something else. I'll change the show. I'll put it back to where I talk about what I've been watching before the main show. But anyway, let me know, please. Sending emails to mycelluloidheart@gmail.com or send them to, you can message me on Instagram under My Celluloid Heart Podcast, or you can call that number, 602-688-2403. That's 602-688-2403. You can either leave a text or a voice message, and I will get it, and I will play it on the show. If you don't want to play it on the show, just tell me. No problem. So, the other day, I don't know what made my wife think this, because my wife's born in 81, and Cocktail came out in 1988. But all of a sudden, she was like, hey, do we own Cocktail? And I was like, no. And she's like, okay. And I knew that meant, like, I'm going to buy it. So she bought it. It was $7 or something, $7.50, Bluray. Bought it from Amazon. It came. She was like, I was going to watch that while you were gone. And I'm like, if you want. And then she's like, I thought you might want to wait. I said, yeah, because I saw it in the theater and I loved it. I saw it like twice, like in the theater or owned it, whatever it was. I loved it. So we watched that at home, both of us sitting there watching it. And it was really good. It's, of course, 80s, late 80s, getting into that, did he cheat? He cheated on you and now he's got to make good. She's pregnant, it's this whole great thing. Like there's there's another subplot going on that you forget about, of like the pregnancy and him cheating on her, and you're like, what the fuck? Spoiler alert. But the Brian Brown, that was the first time ever that I saw Brian Brown. He's in Breaker Morant, which I need to see because I hear he did really good in it. It's a really good movie. Then after that, I saw, he was in FX2, and I love the guy. And I liked him because of this movie Cocktail. He just did great. So anyway, I saw that, me and the wife. It was good. Tom Cruise movie. I don't know where it's streaming, but it's worth the buy. I don't know if I'll watch it a lot, but hey, I own it now, so that's cool. Then I found Stuber was like $11.99 on Vudu or something, and me and the wife liked that movie. When we saw it, we were like, "That was really funny. We like that. We should get it," and we never bought it. And then I was like, "Honey, that movie's like it's $11.99. We should get it." So I went ahead and bought it, and so I got it digitally. And it's funny, if you guys haven't seen it, it's Dave Bautista and Kumail Nanjiani, and it's just cool. It's a fun little action comedy movie, so it's fun. It kind of reminds me of that movie Keanu, that with the cat, where they go to deal with these drug dealers to get the little kitten back. Anyway, kind of like that, and that was funny. Anyway, then I saw, and this movie I talked about on GoldenEye episode with Chip, which, by the way, there's a video of that on Chip's YouTube channel under iChipness, and then you can see videos, and he's going to be putting up his writing processes and stuff like that on there, and getting to know him. And one of the things is when him and I do a podcast, or we just bullshit about movies, we're going to videotape it, so that'll be cool. I'm thinking about maybe videotaping my podcast, but it's a lot of work. I'm thinking about it. Anyway, are you a thinker or a doer? You got your hands in your pockets and lead in your ass. That's what a guy told me a long time ago in Merced, California, when I was doing security at a casino in like 1993, something like that. I don't know. I was like 22. So yeah, about that. And my uncle was like, you need to move out here to California with me and, start your life. And I was like, okay. So I moved to California. In my head, I had moved there. My friends were like, you didn't move there. Your heart was in Arizona. I said, no, I'm moving there. So I moved to Merced, California, which is just like 30 miles outside of, Yosemite, yeah. And so I was like, all right. So I'm living there, and I'm working at this casino, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing? I'm standing in a parking lot making $7 an hour, watching these trains go by that I wish I was on and just going somewhere else. Like, I wish I was back in Arizona. I'm bored. I have no friends here. Like, all this shit, right? Then all of a sudden, I'm like, there's a pool hall right next door. That's why I watched the parking lot, to make sure that the people, it's just a one-floor casino. It's just one little building where they went and played Texas Hold'em. So I see a guy like playing pool, or outside the door of the pool hall, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he goes, hey, is this what you do? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm thinking of going to college. He goes, are you a thinker or a doer? He goes, you got your hands in your pocket and lead in your ass. And that always stuck with me. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. And he's like, all right, you better. And then a little bit later, I was like, look, I miss Arizona. I told my uncle, I'm sorry that we, it felt like a divorce. It was like we built this life that went and bought me a bed. And I was going to the video store. We were getting a bunch of movies. We were watching movies. And then he's the uncle that I went and saw. If you listen to the Terminator episode, or the James Cameron one with me and Joe Weedman, it was he's the one that was like, hey, you want to go see Terminator 2 with me? And I'm like, yeah, I've seen some commercials. And he's like, dude, this is like the biggest thing. And we waited in line forever. Saw the movie, it was great. Anyway, so I left. And anyway, that thing, I went to college for a little bit, never finished. I don't have a degree. I don't have any of that shit. But that thing always stuck with me. Hands in your pocket, lead in your ass. So anyway, that was made me think of that. Anyway, talking to Chip GoldenEye about Wanted Dead or Alive from 1986. So there was a TV show with Steve McQueen called Wanted Dead or Alive. He was a bounty hunter, carried this cool little shotgun in a holster on his hip, a la Mad Max. Although it was before Mad Max, this was in the late 50s, and it was badass. It was pretty cool. It's a Gunsmoke, but like kind of cooler than Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke's more of a drama. This was a little bit of an action, some drama. Anyway, bounty hunter stuff, cool. So, Wanted Dead or Alive, 1986. Rutger Hauer is a bounty hunter, and this, out of all these movies that I've seen, this might be my top pick for this week. Like last time on my watch list, Heat was my one with Burt Reynolds from 1986. Anyway, but Rutger Hauer is a bounty hunter, and his lineage is like basically Steve McQueen is his great-grandfather or whatever that was a bounty hunter, and he's a bounty hunter, and he's got all this state-of-the-art stuff, lives in a big warehouse, and, well, at least he keeps all of his stuff in the warehouse, lives in a boat, like, really cool shit, like, character-building stuff that you like as a Rockford Files, living in a trailer on the beach, and, you know, being a private detective. This guy, like, working from a warehouse where he's got like a shooting range in there and everything and extra cars, and then he's got his then on his boat, he lives on a boat, and he just like lives cheaply and nicely and has a girlfriend, and she doesn't really know what he does, and you know, it's kind of cool. And it had Benson in it, so Robert Guillaume, or is that the singer? I always get those two confused. Robert Gourmet is the singer. Robert Guillaume, I think, is Benson. Anyway, Brandt, if you're yelling at me again, I apologize. Brandt also said he was yelling Kelly Lynch when I was talking about virtuosity, and I couldn't think of Kelly Lynch's name. Anyway, Wanted Dead or Alive. It's a really good, solid movie. It's kind of like that, Black Moon Rising that I watched and was like kind of surprised at how kind of good it was. It was a little dated, but it was a solid little film. And I was talking to Chip about that. If you guys listen to the Goldeneye episode about, I think that if these theaters don't open fully or theaters close and we're watching things on streaming, or we're not going to have event films anymore. We're not going to have these big blockbusters because they're not going to make that much money to release. So they're going to go back to making Wanted Dead or Alive, kind of a moderate budgeted film, cool little action drama. Not necessarily a direct-to-video type movie. Not necessarily these cheap, corny things like the other day I caught on TV, Mega Piranha, which is about these giant piranhas, and it had Greg from Brady Bunch in it. Not those, but it'll be a solid movie, like a cool little movie. So anyway, it's pretty cool. So everybody check that out. That's on streaming. You can watch it with commercials, all that stuff. Pretty cool. I watched it on Pluto TV. And like I said, they have a on-demand thing that you can access and pick out movies or TV shows that you want to watch, and you watch it with commercials. Pretty cool. Then I'm flipping through, I don't know if I'm on Pluto. I was on somewhere, and I found it was probably Pluto, from 1981, a thing called Miss 45, MS 45. Maybe it's Mrs. 45. And they made a remake of this with, the Resident Evil chick. And I'm drawing a blank on her name. I follow her on Instagram, but I can't think of her name. Mia Jovovich. And but this is like 1981. It's done by a guy that does like kind of these gritty, kind of weird films. And it's this woman gets raped. Then like out in the street. Then she gets raped in her apartment. And she it's got psychological effects on her, of course. And the second time when she's being raped in her apartment, she attacks the guy and fights back, grabs his gun. He laid his gun down while he's having sex. And she grabs his gun, reaches up and grabs his 45 and shoots him and kills him. And then chops him up and slowly dispose of his body. She'll take a bag out, put it somewhere, throw it in a dumpster, and then, take another bag and throw that out. And got some comical stuff with her neighbors, got a dog and all this stuff. but she kind of goes kind of nuts, and she's at a party dressed as a nun, like a Halloween party, and she goes crazy again because she got these flashbacks, and it's a cool little movie. If you can find it and you want to watch it, it's different and it's cool. Should you go hunt it down to really find it, to watch it above all else? No. But if you run across it, give it a try. Or read about it and figure out if you want to watch it or not. So then what I've been going back and forth with for a long time was The Gentleman. I liked The Gentleman. I went to the theater. I saw it by myself. And my wife didn't want to go see it. And I was like, oh my God, like this guy did Snatch, and I loved Rock and Rolla. And they were supposed to do a sequel to Rock and Rolla. At the end of Rock and Rolla, it says he'll be back in the real Rock and Rolla. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. And he hasn't done it yet. I don't know if he's going to do it, because now I heard he might do Sherlock Holmes again. Who knows? But anyway, Guy Ritchie does The Gentleman and from 2019. And I had been going, it's $15. Should I buy it on iTunes? Should I buy it? I don't know. And I kept waiting for it to just go down just a little bit. Because I was like, I don't know. But I'll tell you fucking what. I went ahead and pulled the trigger. I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy it because I liked it. And I keep fighting over, should I buy it? Yes, I should buy it. So I bought it and I watched it right away. And it's so good. I know Jason Bromley from Popcorn Promises, he didn't like it. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I liked how it went. It wasn't as good as like Snatch, but it was a cool film. It had great acting, had good scenes in it, just everything. Great actors in it. Really cool. And so, yeah, I'd say check that one out for sure. $15 or whatever. Then Jason Bromley from Popcorn Promises was like, hey, you want to do a show? Be on my podcast, his Popcorn Promises, which they just did a Fight Club episode. It's really good. I really liked it. It was funny. So you should check it out. All of his shows are funny. They did one on Napoleon Dynamite. It's pretty good. He said, do you want to do The Karate Kid? I said, yeah. So I watched an hour of The Karate Kid. Then I went to bed. I usually try to watch the movies all together because that's how they're meant to be watched. But I was like, I got to go to bed. Went to bed. Woke up the next day on my night off. And I'm like, okay, I got one more hour to watch. That I got to watch it. And I said, then I'm ready when you are. And he's like, I haven't even watched it yet. Don't worry about it. I already got a show lined up. I got Fight Club set. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I went ahead and watched it. That movie, 1984, that movie still holds up. It's, even though you know it, like, it's one of those where it's like Karate Kid. I wouldn't normally rewatch that movie over and over again, but I remember watching it, like, a lot when it came out. Like, it was so good. It's just, and that's why it made so much money, and then they tried to capitalize on it and it didn't work. That film, for what it is, in that encapsulated thing of him being beat up and bullied, which you're like, oh my God, I wish I was this kid. I should learn karate. And, oh my God. And then, because I had a friend that almost got in a fight in school, and we were in school. He said some shit to a Mexican kid. He was a tall white guy, goofy white guy, totally looked like a nerd, but had these big giant black rimmed glasses. And he said some shit to the Mexican guy. And me, I'm thinking like, what the fuck? You're saying shit, like, you're brave. Like, I wouldn't say shit. But, kudos to him. He talked back to the guy and was like, fuck you, I'll do what I want. We're in 7th grade. And all of a sudden, the guy's like, I'm going to kick your ass after school. Schools, fucking, it's like a fire. It fucking goes. Next thing you know, the fucking 3rd graders hear that there's going to be a fight after school with some 7th graders. And you're like, what the fuck? So we're getting out of school, and it seemed like the whole school is following us. Him and I are walking to go across a field to jump the fence because they lock the gates after school is closed. And so we're getting off right at 3, and so the gates are already locked. So we would have to jump the fence, and my grandma was going to meet us out there in her little car. So she's picking us up. So we're walking down the sidewalk before we get to the field to cut across the baseball field. We get by the restrooms. One of that guy that's angry at my friend Jason, not Jason Bromley, but another Jason, pushes him. Jason hits me. I fly into the women's restroom through the door, almost fall down, my books and everything. I come back. I got my backpack on. I come back out. I catch up with Jason, and he's still walking. And we go across the field, and everybody's following us. And it feels like that scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark when the Vudu tribe, whatever they're called, is following him. And he's like, jog, start the plane. We're not running, but we're walking kind of fast. And they're all following us. And I'm like, oh, shit, what's going to happen? Is he going to fight? I'm not going to wait to fight. I'm going to jump the fence. This is not my fight. Like, I'm not going to die here in this fucking baseball field. Because when you're a kid, you're like, I'm going to fucking... I saw The Outsiders when I was a kid. That movie scared the shit out of me because I was like, I don't want to be attacked by a gang. Because I was imagining that everybody was in a gang. I grew up in Glendale. You know, they hang out together, groups of people that just hang out. Or, you know, you got Mexican guys who are hanging out on the corner. And you're like, are they just friends hanging out? Or is that a group that's going to just kick my ass for no reason because I look stupid? Because I have high water jeans on or acid wash and my whatever. So we get to the fence and we start climbing over the fence. And the guy grabs Jason by the leg and pulls him down off the fence. And I go ahead and make it over the fence. And everybody's screaming, yeah, fight, kick his ass, yeah, fight. And Jason falls down and he turns to the guy. And I'm kind of watching but going to my grandma's car. And I'm like, hang on, Grandma, he's coming. And all of a sudden, he turns back around and jumps over the fence. And now, a whole bunch of them jump over the fence. Some of them are like, fuck it. We came for a fight, but we're not doing physical activity to get over this fence. So maybe 10 of them went over the fence. And Jason just like got in the car, in my grandma's car, in the backseat passenger side. I got in the backseat driver's side. Grandma starts to drive away. Now, my grandma at this time was like 80 something, 78, 80 something. And they start throwing rocks at the car. She slams on the brakes and gets out and goes, who threw that? What the fuck are you guys doing? And starts yelling at him. And again, I'm going, Grandma, you're going to get killed. I've heard about these stories. And she didn't get killed. They were just like, old lady. And then she got in the car and we drove away. And I turned to Jason and I go, dude, why didn't you fight? You were like acting like you wanted to fight. Everything was fine. He's like, no. See, after I got down off the fence, I was going to fight him, but I saw a switchblade in his sock. So I said, screw this. I don't want to get stabbed. And I jumped the fence. And I'm just, even at that time, I was like, yeah, right. Fucking switchblade. Bullshit. Anyway, that's a story from my childhood. I hope you enjoyed it. I was going to tell it on the Karate Kid episode with Jason. So if we do that episode, then you'll hear that story maybe again. But maybe not, because now I've already told it. Anyway. Then I watch this guy on YouTube, and he's on Instagram, and it's called Flicks Connection. And he talks about, like, here's 20 heist films that you should see. They're on Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu. Or just, here's 20, crazy action movies you should see on Netflix. So he had this one that was, like, crazy action movies and kind of hidden gems. And Lost Bullet is a French movie on Netflix, and it's these cops that catch these drug smugglers by like slamming their car into them and busting them, and they get this criminal out of jail and they have him build the cars and help them, and then somebody gets killed. One of the main cops gets killed, shot, and the bullet is lost. It's in that guy's car. That the guy that owned it was the cop that got killed. And they burned the wrong car. And so this criminal guy is like, they burned the wrong car. I know where the real car is. I'm going to go find it because if I find the bullet, we can run ballistics and we can catch this, crooked cop or whoever killed the guy, right? So that's what the whole thing is. And I watched it dubbed. You can watch it subtitled or dubbed. And it was fine dubbed. It had some crazy, words. Sometimes they say the words don't really make sense, or it's kind of said quickly and silly, and you're like, that's a silly sentence. But it works. It was good. So Then I saw Dave Chapelle, the Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. It was on Netflix. And before, I thought that this was an older thing. I thought it was like a new documentary, but it was old footage of Dave Chapelle. But it wasn't. It was Dave Chapelle getting the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. And it was really cool. He got it in 2019. And it was cool because he kind of would take you through his, he'd get up on stage at a club before and tell about his first time doing comedy and all this stuff. And then everybody coming up, Sarah Silverman, the guy that co-wrote the Chapelle Show with him, co-creator, like he came up and said really good, funny stuff. And they just honored the guy. And then he came out at the end and, said thanks and kind of told what it meant to him. And it was really cool. It's about an hour and it was good. So everybody check that out if you like Dave Chapelle. It's pretty neat, pretty funny. Then on Netflix came out that Project Power movie with Jamie Foxx and the kid. I knew. Everybody's yelling at me again. Joe. Where the hell did my phone go? There it is. It's a kid from that show. From Third Rock from the Sun and from Looper. Anyway, I can probably think of his name, but it's better for you guys just to yell at the thing. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I told you his name is Joe. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it. This black girl. She's like an up and comer. Like she was really good. I liked her. And it's cool. It reminded me because the premise was kind of unique. And because it was Netflix. I don't know if it was made for Netflix or sold to Netflix or how that worked, but it reminded me of Bright. I thought Bright was better than this, but this was a good little action movie. You want to watch a little kind of mindless kind of action movie. Not mindless, but you want to watch an action movie and have some fun, watch this, because it's an interesting premise. They take a pill, and the pill gives them power for 5 minutes. So it's being sold, like drugs on the, to drug dealers are selling it. And then these people go and then they commit crimes. But the thing is, you might take this pill. You don't know what your power is going to be. You take the pill and it might blow you up or it might set you on fire like the Human Torch. It might make you invincible like Superman. Might make you really fast like, the Flash. Might make you invisible. You don't know. And so that was a cool premise. I like that. And it's, of course, a government project that is, going more the dark web type, but the government's still trying to do that. And so then they got to fight back. And Jamie Foxx is an ex-military guy who's, trying to stop it and find his daughter. So it's pretty cool. Jamie Foxx, always good. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, always good, usually, pretty much. And so it's cool. Then I saw Trial by Media on Netflix, and it's like a documentary kind of thing, like a news show, but there's different episodes, so it's got maybe 7 or 8 episodes, and the first one was about Jenny Jones, the Jenny Jones show, when the gay guy had a secret crush, and his crush was another guy, his friend, who lived in the same trailer park as he did, or lived in an apartment close. Anyway, so he says he has a crush. Jenny Jones reaches out and says, "Do you want to be on our show? We have somebody who has a crush on you." They won't tell him it's a guy or a girl because that's where the ratings happen. So the gay guy shows up. He tells his story, why he likes this guy. The other guy's in the back with headphones on, doesn't know who's talking. Walks out and he sees his 2 friends. One's a female, one's a male. And he walks out and the gay guy says, "I'm here to tell you that I love you and I have fantasies about you and I want to date you." And the guy's embarrassed and laughing and they're laughing it off. And afterwards, when they got home after filming, the show never aired. But after they got done filming, they went home, they flew on the plane together, they went out to eat, partied a little bit, had a good time, but the gay guy kept like making writing out notes like, hey, your tool will open this light, whatever, stupid little things. And that, I think, pushed the guy over the top. Plus, that his family was a family that was like, are you gay? I hope you're not gay. One of those things where they're asking him if he's gay, but in actuality, it's I hope you're not gay. So it's really good because it's called Trial by Media, because it's about how then it became a media circus with Court TV started. That was one of the first things on Court TV, was this Jenny Jones thing. They had Jenny Jones on the stand. What's funny about Court TV, they're owned by Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers also runs the Jenny Jones show. So when these people, the parents of this criminal and the gay the gay guy's brother is trying to sue Warner Brothers because they're like, you knew what you were doing, then Court TV's showing everything, and it's like, oh my God, like you're making money from Court TV, whatever money you're making, if they get sued, you make the money, but it was retarded. But anyway, that was pretty good. The next one was about Bernie Getz, and I knew a little bit about that, so that was good to watch, and how the media was like on it. Like they just knew a vigilante killed somebody. He gave himself up. I didn't know that. He turned himself in and was like, I killed these guys. I was worried. And then all of a sudden, all the word was out, like, oh, this vigilante, he's like Charles Bronson. He's fucking badass. This guy's cool. Right on, right on. And then all of a sudden, he kept talking, and he kept saying, like, yeah, these scumbags and these people, and they do this. And then all of a sudden, the media saw a video of his basically deposition, or him explaining what happened that night when he turned himself in. Well, it was like a couple weeks later, or a week later, turned himself in. And he gives this video thing of like how he did it, and everybody turns on him. Now public opinion is this guy's a piece of shit. So it was really neat how that changed his court case, like what happened there. The third one, I haven't watched all of them. Then this third one was this black kid from he's like in his 20s, going to college in New York. Came from Africa. He's a street vendor, but he's also going to college. He's in his doorway in his vestibule at his apartment, and these 4 undercover cops show up, and they see him pacing back and forth and messing with stuff. So they're like, pull their guns, and they end up shooting him. He's going for his wallet. They end up shooting and killing him. Shot him 41 times. So that's 4 cops, 41 times, and he died. And it was like, hello, for one, it's like, oh my God, that's what's going on right now. Like, what the fuck? And so it was really cool about, then the mom comes and the cops are trying to be on her side, be like, hey, we got you a really nice hotel room. And Al Sharpton's like, no, go with us, which is funny because he's like, they're using you. Why don't you go with us? Which is like, we're going to use you the same way, but for a better reason, but you know what I mean. Anyway, it's a good show. Trial by Media. Check it out. Also, I've been watching a lot of the murder shows. We watched American Monsters on the ID channel, and then right now we're watching Evil Lives Here. So that's where they'll talk to one person who it was either their husband, boyfriend, brother, sister, whoever that went crazy, father, and then they'll go through it. Then they'll have reenactments of everything. So it's pretty good. If you like crime stuff, Sometimes my wife and I go, we should stop watching all this murder stuff, or at least slow down. Anyway, then on Turner Classic Movies, this is the last movie, by the way. This morning, Turner Classic Movies, I saw a thing on Instagram, popped up. It was like John Barrymore being Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from 1920. And it was just a clip of him, like, turning for the first time, like, drinking the stuff and turning into Hyde. And they were like, this was done all with acting. No, makeup or special effects until after that first transformation. Then they used makeup and stuff. And it was really cool. It was a little, like, scary. Like, for 1920, it was like, ooh. And some people forget, like 1920, people weren't used to what you're seeing now. So 1920, this was, he's drinking this potion. Basically, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde he has this discussion with one of he's like a really good doctor. He goes on his spare time for free and doctors up poor cities, a poor neighborhood that can't afford doctors. He'll go and help them out. And they're having a party that night, and one of the doctors, one of the other professor, whatever he is like, oh, that Dr. Jekyll, he's too good. He really that good? Yeah, he's a sweet saint. He's a good hell of a person. And then when Dr. Jekyll gets there later that night, one of the guys talks to him and says, what you need to do is you need to like get rid of some of your you need to like let those inhibitions out. Like you need to be, if you're tempted by a woman or whatever, you need to do this. So he takes him to like a dance hall, like a beer hall or these a bar with girls dancing. And the guy invites a girl over to like kind of seduce and be with this guy, be with Dr. Jekyll. And Dr. Jekyll walks out. And then he goes back to his house and he's working on this stuff already, something. Then he's like, I wonder if, he's talking to his friend, he goes, I wonder if you can split the baser instincts and the good, and the guy's like, you can't do that. That'd be like God and the devil. You can't do that. That's amoral. Like, don't do that. And he does it. And he drinks his potion. And of course, it's silly. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde he drinks it, he becomes Mr. Hyde. He drinks it, he becomes Dr. Jekyll. So it's kind of funny. But speaking of that, which I spoke about last time, Urkel and Family Matters, Urkel had that, where he had this potion that he made because he wanted to be cool. He drank the potion, and he became Stefan Urkel. And then the next time when they did it, now he has like a refrigerator box that he gets, like a refrigerator that he gets into, but it's all, supposed to be a big elaborate machine. And he gets in there and he pours the liquid into it. And so then he became Elvis one time and Bruce Lee, all in the same episode. He became Elvis, Albert Einstein, and Bruce Lee. And so it was funny. It's just funny how Steve Urkel, the character of Urkel, became so big for everybody. Kids and just people loved him. He was funny. But he was always, did I do that? Like, that was his whole thing. Anyway, and I'm sure he hated it. But anyway, Family Matters, again, like, a lot of shit going on in the world. You're stuck at home, COVID going on, fucking, riots and, defunding the police, time for voting, all this stuff. Sometimes you just want to shut your brain down. So if you want to shut your brain down, watch a movie like Project Power on Netflix, or, you want to get a little more deep and learn some kind of history of the United States, Trial by Media, watch some of those. I'll tell you that Bernie Getz one was pretty interesting. And I'm sorry that I can't think of the kid's name, but that third one was good too, with the woman, the African gentleman from Africa, the food vendor. And Stuber is like a good thing where you don't have to think about anything. The Gentleman is just awesome. Karate Kid, if you want to dive back and go, I want to be back in 1984 when I was 13 years old and watch Karate Kid, it's on Netflix. Go for it. Wanted Dead or Alive, like I said, Cocktail. Just good stuff. Or, just dive into some old TV shows. My wife and I watch Addams Family, all those things. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you today, I wanted to tell you this in the beginning of the show, but I didn't. Brandt told me to kind of try to tighten up the show. I know I told the story about me getting, my friend Jason getting almost beat up by some kids, but I have fun doing these shows, and I have fun talking about the movies that I watch, because sometimes they're really great stuff. But something that happened today, I'm on my way home, and tonight I got to work again. I work Wednesday. I'm off Thursday, Friday. So I'm on my way home. I have my Bluetooth hooked up, in the car, and I play, and I'm playing, shuffle thing. I'm shuffling through my music on my iPad, on my iPhone, and what comes on but Freedom by George Michael. And I fucking crank that shit. My radio goes up to 40, crank it up to 40, and I'm fucking just dancing in the car, driving, fucking good mood, fucking happy, pleased as shit. I'm heading home. I had a day of work. I have one more day of work. Then I'm off for the weekends. I'm doing a podcast when I get home. No problem. Really cool. Having a good time. After that, I click through some songs. What else do I got? I click through, and what do I find? Fucking Neutron Dance. That might be, Brandt, hear me now. Neutron Dance might be my favorite song of all time. Nah, I shouldn't say all time, but it's my favorite song because it's so bum 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 bum. It just right away. It's got you, snapping your fingers. If you weren't driving, you'd be tapping your feet and maybe even dancing. Fucking great song. The Pointer Sisters. I don't know what happened to them. Somebody write me. Let me know what happened to the Pointer Sisters. I'm sure Brandt will send me a big old fucking Wikipedia page of what happened to the Pointer Sisters. I know I can look it up. It's just funny how they were big and all of a sudden they were gone. Anyway, but that song, and then after that song, then Time Warp. I'm fucking playing the Time Warp, and I'm singing along to that from Rocky Horror Picture Show. And then later on, then I flip through some stuff, and I find I didn't know this, but there was I didn't read it on my thing that came up, but it said Dr. Feelgood demo. So I'm listening to this, and I'm going, where's that? Rat tail, dun, dun, rat tail. And I'm waiting for that part to kick in, and it doesn't. And the song starts, and it's totally different lyrics. And I'm like, what the fuck? It was a demo, and it's totally different. I couldn't finish. I didn't even go. I just stopped it because I'm like, no, I wanted to hear the real Dr. Feelgood, the one that I know. And then I played Dirty Diana, and just great stuff out there, guys. So do me a favor. If you're having a bad day, put on your favorite song. Just lay down, relax, sit in a chair, just zone out, stare out the window, whatever. Just have a good day, everybody. I know that shit's bad. You got bills to pay, taxes, all this shit. But sometimes you have permission to just not worry for a little bit. Just kind of let it go. And let it go, let it go. And so now I got that song stuck in your head. I'm sorry. How about Baby Shark, 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 Shark? Anyway, so everybody, just please have a good day. And now I'm going to play a teaser for what's coming. Tomorrow Never Dies. I'm going to play a little trailer. And then I'm going to play my Movie Chatter guys' little promo. So go check them out. They had a good show, and they have one every week. So give it a chance. And guys, I'll talk to you next week when I'm here with Brandt, and we're talking about Tomorrow Never Dies. I do that good, right?
This holiday season on Hyde. Big flips. Was it something I said? Big ships. On December 19th, the world belongs to Bond. James Bond. Tomorrow Never Dies. Rated PG-13. Starts December 19th.
Hey Phil, from Milwaukee, it's Movie Chatter.
Have you had your fill of Phil? Come check us out.
Oh yeah.
Do you like bad podcasts? Well, you must. If you're listening to this, we're just as bad as Phil.
Phil's a fabulous podcast.
Right. If you want to hear something a little less tuned up and less prepared,
the average Joe kind of attitude.
Two old dudes and a girl.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Plus a really old dude.
That sounds like a sitcom, so it's got to be a good podcast.
There you go.
Hey, we talk for a long time.
We just talk, you know.
And
you got to just yap for a long time, and then
eventually something comes out.
Exactly.
That's the way we like it.
There was a lot of boob.
That's the way we like it. So, You know, hey, we even got sound effects. We got 3-year-olds in here recording with us today.
He's really good at dinosaur roaring.
We'll talk about Netflix. We don't talk about the old stuff like Phil. We talk about
What's current, what's
We
new.
don't discriminate because every now and then I'll watch something from the 90s.
We
just
do.
randomly.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well,
we had a
Phil
whole
likes
section
to,
of old
Phil likes
stuff.
to watch the 30s.
We usually don't
vintage.
dive that deep.
Yeah.
We don't. So it's a variety.
Give us a listen.
Movie Chatter Podcast.
MovieChatterPodcast.com.
There you go. Or Movie Chatter Podcast on Instagram. All good stuff. Thanks, Phil.